Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Sabludowsky, publisher of BuyUBuzz.com. And this morning, we're going to be talking to Michael Hecht, a friend of mine, the president of GNO Inc. And Michael, I'm sure that you're having one heck of a month, even though it's the beginning of May. So what's going on with you?
Well, it feels kind of like the 65th of March. Frankly, it's kind of all blended together. But, I think that that given everything, we're doing well. I don't think there's any place in the country that has a combination of practical experience and emotional resilience that Greater New Orleans does. So given what's within our control, I'm proud but not surprised at how well everybody's reacting.
That's terrific. Now, we had, of course, Katrina and Rita and the host of hurricanes, and then, of course, BP. So we did recover. What's, in your opinion, I want to be more positive than negative, but I do want to lay out the waterfront, so to speak. What do you think the major obstacles are for this region at this point in time?
Well, obviously, there are obstacles that involve lives and obstacles that involve livelihoods. On the lives front, until we get a vaccine or a very good therapeutic or herd immunity, coronavirus is going to be a challenge, particularly for the most vulnerable in our community. On the livelihood side, a forced government shutdown, a recession, has been the necessary cure for this disease. And the damage from that is beginning to toll. You have massive amounts of unemployment. You have businesses that are really right now on the brink. And so managing through that and getting to the other side is the task. On the other side, there's a lot of opportunity. I'm very optimistic about what we can see on the other side with everything from manufacturing and technology, reshoring back to the U.S., to opportunities in healthcare and epidemiology, to opportunities in entrepreneurship and in logistics for retail. So there's a lot to get to, but we have a liquidity crunch on the business side that we have to manage in order to get there.
So why don't you tell us about some of those opportunities that you see?
I think that some of the obvious ones are manufacturing supply chains. I think people are now recognizing that being dependent on China leaves them very vulnerable in terms of manufacturing. So I think that will begin to come back, and particularly to places like Louisiana, where we've been a leader in manufacturing for years and have been one of the tops in foreign direct investment in manufacturing for as long as I've been around. So big opportunities for the river region, for the North Shore, for all of Louisiana in manufacturing. In technology, what they're finding is that companies that have offshored their production, their coding to places like India, were finding that it was hard for them to work from home from India. They could work from home from the States, but if they were in Bangalore, there was major disruption. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that coding work coming back to the States. And again, low-cost, high-culture places like New Orleans, I think really stand to benefit from those opportunities. In logistics, we have big logistics capabilities in the region with 7 Class 1 railroads and the river, obviously, great highway access. So you're going to see more and more warehouses and logistics centers, a lot of them automated, however, being built because logistics is the new retail, everybody is saying, and I happen to agree. And then in healthcare, some changes that were already coming are being accelerated. You're going to see telehealth, where places like Ochsner have been a leader. You're going to see epidemiology and infectious disease, where Tulane Medical School was established for that purpose, played a role in curing Ebola, and now is going to play a role going forward. And I think just in general, Stephen, if you remember post-Katrina, the surge of entrepreneurship, I think you're going to see a similar surge here, with necessity being the mother of invention, and this being a pretty big bad mama.
You mentioned something about logistics and being in new retail. So I'm assuming that you're talking about having to buy something and have it delivered, that kind of logistics.
Yeah, well, I think you'll see two things.
One obvious, broader than that, I'm sure. Yeah,
you'll see the Amazon style, but I think even more significantly, you're going to see stores increasingly become showrooms or fulfillment centers. So you're going to shop online, then you're going to go to the store to pick up, or you might go to the store to browse, but then it'll get delivered there. So the stores as where the actual holding the inventory and where the commerce takes place, I think that's going to continue to decline. That's going to happen in the cloud and at warehouses, and stores will become more of showrooms or places you just go to pick up. There's a new term called BOPIs, buy online, pick up in store, and that's kind of what you're seeing a lot now with groceries, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As well as other products. I just had to buy something from Best Buy 2 weeks ago, and sure enough, I went ahead and bought it online and then picked it up.
Yeah.
It was a interesting experience. It's amazing how these technologies have just really kind of come together. And as you know, of course, we have the digital media law, and so I'm just wondering, that seems like it could be a pretty good opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. Right now, we're the 7th fastest growing tech market in the country. We're number 5 for African Americans in tech, number 3 for women in tech per capita. And it's, I think, if of the many things that have been underscored by this coronavirus crisis, one of them clearly is the need to keep diversifying the economy, because we're not just getting hit by corona, we're also getting hit by the oil price, debacle. And so diversification is really the long-term mitigation for that, clearly.